Have you ever wondered if there was one crucial truth about love that could change everything? Edgar Cayce, often called the Sleeping Prophet, America's most documented psychic of the 20th century, accessed profound insights about relationships while in trance states. Through thousands of readings, he discovered patterns connecting human hearts across time and space. What he uncovered about women in loving relationships was particularly striking. A single warning so fundamental that ignoring it could derail even the most promising connection. Today, we reveal the one thing Edgar Cayce warned every woman in love should never ignore, a message that transcends time, yet remains hidden from most relationship discussions today. When Edgar Cayce would lie down on his couch in Virginia Beach, closing his eyes to enter his remarkable trance state, few could have imagined the depth of wisdom about human connection that would flow through him. His insights on relationships weren't merely observations, but revelations drawn from what he described as the Akashic Records, the energetic library of all human experience across time. What makes his warning to women in love so compelling is how it challenges our modern understanding while offering a timeless truth about the nature of spiritual connection. In the quiet moments between his readings, Cayce often reflected on how relationships serve as powerful vessels for soul growth. The purpose of relationships, he would say with gentle certainty, isn't merely companionship, but the evolution of consciousness itself. This perspective forms the foundation for understanding his crucial warning to women navigating the complex terrain of love. But before we explore this warning directly, we must understand the unique lens through which Cayce viewed human connection. For Cayce, every relationship exists simultaneously on multiple planes: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. When two people come together, especially in romantic love, they create what he called an energetic third entity, a living connection with its own purpose and karmic patterns. This entity carries the imprints of past encounters between these souls, sometimes stretching across many lifetimes. It's within this spiritual framework that his warning takes on profound significance for women who seek lasting and meaningful love. What exactly did Edgar Cayce warn women in love to never ignore? Simply put, the intuitive recognition of energy patterns in relationship dynamics that reveal soul agreements made before physical incarnation. Through his readings, Cayce consistently emphasized that women possess an innate ability to sense these patterns, yet societal conditioning often leads them to dismiss these intuitive recognitions in favor of more conventional relationship metrics. The greatest mistake, Cayce would explain during his readings, is when a woman ignores the subtle energy she senses from her partner that contradicts their words or actions. This energetic dissonance, he stressed, isn't merely about dishonesty, but about misalignment with the soul agreement that brought them together. According to Cayce, women naturally attune to these frequencies, but are frequently taught to rationalize away their perceptions, rather than honor them as valid spiritual insights. In reading 21:24-3, given for a young woman struggling in her marriage, Cayce articulated this concept with particular clarity. The body knows, the mind may question, but the soul always recognizes its counterpart. He went on to explain how this woman had sensed inconsistencies in her partner's energy from their earliest meetings, but had dismissed these perceptions, believing her intellectual assessment of the relationship should override her intuitive knowing. But what exactly does this energy recognition feel like in practical terms? Cayce described it as a moment of soul remembrance, that inexplicable sense of familiarity with someone you've just met, or conversely, an unexplainable caution despite all outward appearances suggesting compatibility. These signals manifest physically as resonance or dissonance in the body's energy centers, particularly the heart. When a woman feels expansion in her heart center in the presence of her beloved, Cayce noted in reading 1175-1, this indicates alignment with the soul contract. When she experiences constriction, regardless of how perfect things may appear outwardly, this signals misalignment that must be addressed rather than ignored. This physical sensation, he insisted, transcends emotional reactions and operates from a deeper level of spiritual intelligence. This warning takes on even greater significance when viewed through Cayce's understanding of soul connections, which he categorized into several distinct types. Not all loving relationships, he maintained, are meant to be romantic partnerships in the conventional sense. Some souls come together briefly for specific lessons, while others form deep bonds designed to last a lifetime. The key lies in correctly discerning the nature and purpose of the connection, rather than forcing it into predetermined expectations. The greatest challenge for women in love, Cayce remarked in a rare moment of direct counsel outside his trance state, is distinguishing between the magnetic pull of unresolved karma and the harmonious resonance of aligned purpose. The former, he warned, often masquerades as intense passion or irresistible attraction, but ultimately leads to repeating painful patterns. The latter may begin more quietly, but builds into sustainable connection that supports mutual growth. What's particularly fascinating about Cayce's warning is how it reflects his understanding of feminine energy as inherently receptive and intuitive. This isn't about gender stereotypes, but about energetic principles that manifest in varying degrees in all humans. The feminine aspect, which may be dominant regardless of biological sex, possesses a natural capacity for energetic discernment that Cayce considered essential for navigating soul relationships. When women override their intuitive knowing about a partner's energy, he cautioned in reading 37441, they not only compromise their own spiritual growth, but also prevent their partner from facing the lessons they need for their evolution. This perspective reframes intuitive discernment not as self-protection alone, but as an act of compassion for both parties involved in the relationship dynamic. Consider the case of Helen, a woman who sought Cayce's guidance regarding her tumultuous relationship with James. Despite his charm and professions of love, she consistently felt uneasy in his presence. The conventional wisdom of friends and family encouraged her to appreciate his positive qualities and ignore her misgivings. Cayce's reading, however, validated her intuitive knowing, revealing that their souls had agreed to a brief but significant encounter designed to heal patterns from previous lifetimes, not to form a lasting romantic partnership. The discomfort you experience, Cayce told her while in trance, is your soul's recognition that extending this relationship beyond its intended purpose would create new karmic entanglements rather than resolving existing ones. This insight liberated Helen to honor the connection for what it was meant to be rather than forcing it into a conventional relationship model. Both she and James ultimately benefited from this honest recognition. But Cayce's warning extends beyond simply trusting intuition about incompatibility. Equally important is recognizing genuine soul resonance when it appears, even if it contradicts social expectations or arrives in an unexpected package. Through his readings, he documented numerous cases of women who dismissed profound soul connections because they didn't conform to their mental image of an ideal partner or relationship timeline. In reading 52311, Cayce addressed a woman who had ended a relationship with someone she described as not her type, despite feeling a profound sense of peace and expansion in his presence. What you rejected, Cayce revealed, was not merely a potential partner, but a soul with whom you made agreements before entering this lifetime to support each other's highest purpose. The compatibility she sought, he explained, existed at the soul level rather than in the superficial attributes she had been conditioned to prioritize. This highlights another crucial aspect of Cayce's warning, the distinction between ego-based attraction and soul recognition. The former fixates on how a relationship serves personal needs or enhances self-image, while the latter recognizes a connection that serves mutual spiritual evolution. Women in love, Cayce maintained, must develop discernment between these two fundamentally different experiences. The heart knows, he would often say, what the mind cannot yet comprehend. This simple phrase encapsulates his guidance to women navigating the complex territory of intimate relationships. The warning isn't against love itself, but against ignoring the wisdom that comes through intuitive channels rather than intellectual analysis. It's about honoring the body's energy system as a sophisticated instrument for discerning truth beyond appearances. Through his readings, Cayce consistently observed that relationships formed in alignment with soul agreements, even when they included challenges, provided the richest opportunities for growth and fulfillment. Those formed in contradiction to intuitive knowing, regardless of how perfect they seemed on paper, inevitably created suffering until the misalignment was acknowledged and addressed. What makes this warning particularly relevant in our contemporary world is how modern dating practices often emphasize intellectual compatibility and external factors over energetic resonance. Dating profiles list hobbies and preferences, but can't capture the subtle energetic exchange that occurs when two souls with aligned purposes encounter each other. Cayce's insight reminds women to prioritize this felt sense of resonance above all other considerations. For modern women navigating relationships, Cayce's warning translates to practical guidance. Develop a relationship with your own energy system. Learn to distinguish between fear-based reactions and genuine intuitive caution, and create space for soul recognition to emerge beyond the mind's initial assessments. Most importantly, value these insights as legitimate data rather than dismissing them as irrational or unimportant. The soul, Cayce stated in reading 2533-7, always seeks completion of its agreements. When conscious awareness aligns with soul purpose, relationships transform from sources of confusion to vehicles of transcendence. This transformation begins, he insisted, with honoring rather than ignoring the subtle energetic communication that precedes and underlies all other forms of connection. This warning carries particular weight when considering Cayce's broader perspective on soul relationships. He described how souls often travel in groups across multiple lifetimes, playing different roles for each other to facilitate specific lessons and growth. Within these soul groups, certain connections carry stronger magnetic charges, drawing individuals together with seemingly irresistible force. Not all of these powerful attractions, however, are meant to culminate in harmonious partnerships. Some souls, Cayce explained in reading 1968-5, agree to trigger profound awakening in each other through challenging dynamics. Others covenant to provide safe harbors for healing and restoration. Discerning the nature of the soul agreement requires attunement to energy rather than attachment to outcomes, precisely what his warning encourages women to develop and trust. Perhaps most remarkably, Cayce's insights about women's intuitive recognition in relationships align with what modern neuroscience is beginning to understand about intuitive cognition. The heart contains neural tissue that processes information independently from the brain, communicating its insights through subtle physical sensations. What Cayce described as soul recognition might be understood today as the heart's neural network processing complex relational data beyond conscious awareness. In the decades since Cayce shared these insights, countless women have reported experiences that validate his warning. They describe moments of knowing something essential about a relationship that couldn't be explained through conventional analysis, but later proved pivotal for their well-being and growth. These experiences cross cultural and religious boundaries, suggesting they reflect a universal aspect of feminine consciousness rather than culturally specific beliefs. What then is the heart of Edgar Cayce's warning to women in love? It is this: the most reliable compass for navigating relationships is not cultural conditioning, social expectation, or even intellectual compatibility, but the subtle energy exchange that occurs when two souls interact. This energetic communication speaks directly to the purpose of the connection and reveals whether it aligns with the soul agreements made before incarnation. Ignoring these energetic signals in favor of more visible or socially validated aspects of relationship leads inevitably to confusion, stagnation, and missed opportunities for authentic connection. For a woman engaged in the dance of relationship, Cayce's warning offers both a challenge and a liberation. The challenge lies in developing trust in a form of knowing that often defies articulation and may contradict external evidence. The liberation comes through realigning with an innate wisdom that simplifies the complex terrain of human connection by bringing clarity to its essential purpose. In the end, what Edgar Cayce warned women in love to never ignore was their own deepest truth, the wisdom that emerges not from thought, but from the soul's direct recognition, communicated through the body's energy system. This recognition, he maintained, is not a mysterious gift granted to a select few, but a natural capacity available to all women who choose to develop and trust it. It serves not only personal fulfillment, but the larger evolution of consciousness through authentic connection. The one thing that Edgar Cayce warned every woman in love should never ignore is quite simply the truth that resonates in her energy field when in the presence of her beloved. This energetic truth speaks to the nature and purpose of the connection beyond all appearances and expectations. It reveals whether the relationship aligns with soul agreements made before incarnation, and whether it will ultimately serve or hinder mutual evolution. This warning, while simple in essence, requires the courage to value inner knowing in a world that often privileges external validation. Yet for those who heed it, it offers the possibility of relationships that transcend conventional limitations and fulfill their highest spiritual purpose. What does this mean for you today? Consider the relationships in your life, romantic and otherwise. Have there been moments when your energy field communicated something your mind couldn't explain? Did you honor those insights or dismiss them? The wisdom Edgar Cayce channeled invites you to reclaim trust in your energetic discernment as an essential aspect of navigating human connection. This doesn't mean abandoning rational assessment, but integrating it with the deeper knowing that emerges through the body's sophisticated energy system. In the quiet moments when you connect with your own heart's wisdom, you access the same intuitive knowing that Cayce encouraged women to trust. This isn't mystical or separate from daily life, but the most natural way of perceiving truth beyond appearances. By heeding Cayce's warning never to ignore these perceptions, you open the door to relationships that align with your soul's highest purpose and contribute to the evolution of consciousness itself. As we conclude this exploration of Edgar Cayce's profound warning to women in love, we invite you to sit quietly for a moment and notice what resonates in your own heart. The wisdom shared today isn't meant merely for intellectual consideration, but for practical application, your most precious connect. Trust what you feel, honor what you know, and allow relationships to reveal their true purpose through the language of energy rather than appearance alone. Thank you for joining us for this meaningful journey into Edgar Cayce's insights on relationships. If these ideas resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one and value your perspective. Your engagement through likes helps share these spiritual insights with others who might benefit from them. Subscribe to our channel to continue exploring profound wisdom that transcends time and enriches our understanding of human connection. Remember, the heart knows what the mind has yet to learn. Trust the wisdom that speaks through energy, for it reveals the soul's deepest truth.